Welcome to the Growth Enablement Madness podcast, and I'm Jim Ward, your host, CEO of BrainSell, the growth enablement company. I'm absolutely mad about helping businesses grow and scale. And in this podcast, my team and I get a chance to talk shop with industry thought leaders about a variety of growth enablement strategies, stories, and technology trends. I'm happy that you're here, so let's get the growth conversation started. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Jim Ward, CEO of BrainSell. We have a fantastic guest today, somebody who we've been striving to get on the show for some time, and her name is Latané Conant from 6sense. Welcome, Latané.
Welcome. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Jim. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Well, we're very excited to have you on our podcast, and I also want to make sure that we tip our caps to Sarah Reed, who's our Vice President of Marketing, yay, and also Brian Anderson, who's our Content Manager.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And as marketing people, we are super excited about this conversation as well, Latané, so thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
I've looked at the website so many times, and I've talked to folks in your company. I always feel like there's more for me to learn for some reason. It feels like I never get enough of the information. So hoping that you'll be able to expand on the company. But I really wanted to first start by congratulating you on your new book. And I understand it's been out for a whole year.
I know. It's been out for a year. I can't believe it. It goes by fast. But it's been out for a year. It is still kicking. I mean, we're just getting more steam on it. We actually recently created a certification program.
Oh.
So it's been really fun to see people read the book, get all these study materials and the study guide, and then pass and post on their LinkedIn that they're certified. It's like the best thing ever. It feels really, really good.
So tell me, give us everything about it. The title, why did you write it? What's the goal? What's the feedback?
Yeah. So here's the book. It's called No Forms, No Spam, No Cold Calls, Next Generation Account-Based Sales and Marketing. And so it's kind of interesting. I was an accounting major in college.
Okay.
I never wanted to have to write a paper.
He was in a business school with a primary of accounting too, so I understand.
So I have no idea how I was able to get this thing done. But the backstory is, didn't set out to write a book, set out to run an experiment, actually. And so with my team at 6sense, we decided that there was a better way. And a lot of us came from a company called Aperio, which was all about customer experience consulting and helping people adopt better digital and customer experiences. And so we got to 6sense, and I said, God, marketing's kind of effed up. And even account-based is like, they're still counting leads, or we're still counting leads, and like, it's really kind of a poor experience. And maybe let's run an experiment and let's put the customer and the prospect, who is a future customer, in the center of everything. And let's just refuse. Let's have a rule that we refuse to do the stuff that we know customers and prospects hate, like forms, spam, and cold calls. What does that look like?
Yep.
And what technology do we need? What measurement capabilities do we need? What process do we need? We're just going to totally break everything and see how it goes. And I just knew that the technology was available. I knew that we could prove this out, and we did. We just were in actually Cloud 100, which is pretty exciting. 6sense. We've had 4 years of every single quarter beat and raise. And so we're very, very predictable at driving revenue growth. We're just named a double unicorn, which is kind of fun. But what's more interesting about that is that the foundation of how we grow and grow so efficiently is using our own product in conjunction with this no forms, no spam, no cold calls approach. And so we're, I guess, to some degree, the victim of our own success. And so this project, that's the premise of the book, was called Project Bold Moves. And we laid it down and we started doing it. And I started writing about it and presenting, giving presentations on how it was going. And every time I would go to write a blog, I would write like 6 pages, and I would have like a template, because I like templates and frameworks, and I would have all these images, and my team would be like, sister, we just need a blog. And I'd be like, I can't write a blog, there's too much. And so, and I at the same time started advising companies, and I found that I would write these super long emails, and I would be scrubbing like the templates that we were using and sending them over. And I'm like, I just needed to like grind it out and sit down, write this all down. It would be so beneficial for people. And so that's kind of how it happened.
It's unique because it's like in the industry as a whole, there's a lot of talking around this change that needs to happen around, like, customers don't like forms, they don't like getting spammed, but people keep doing it anyway. And it's like actually seeing people, change instead of just going with the norm instead of everything else.
So maybe I'm curious, peel back the onion for me a little bit. No forms, no spam. What does that mean? What does it mean to the audience? And by the way, what is Cloud 100? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's like a list of, Forbes puts it together and basically names kind of the most successful cloud.
There you go. I know what unicorns are. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You're a double unicorn. Yeah, but peel back the onion for me a little bit. So what does that all mean? What's the new approach look like to you?
Yeah. So let's take first of all, let's take a step back. So think about when you go to buy something.
Yeah.
And particularly at work, be at home or at work, but I know for me, especially at work, I'm not going to go to our CFO and say that we're going to buy something unless I've done a lot of research.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not, right? So I'm going to want to do a lot of research. I'm going to want to understand our problem. I'm going to want to just be buttoned up on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And like the first thing we do in B2B marketing is we say, no, don't want you to learn from us. Go to someone else's website and learn. Because we gate like this valuable educational content, and I think people hate to be sold and marketed to, but love to be educated.
Right.
So I don't know why you wouldn't want to just let that be, right? Let people learn from you.
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
So ungate, first of all. Yep.
And then the second thing is, and these two somewhat go hand in hand. The whole reason for the gate is to get an email.
Right.
Because when we've got an email, then we can start to spam people.
Mm-hmm.
And, we send 3.3 billion emails a day, and there's only 7.7 billion people on the planet.
Right.
So, heaven forbid you're on Pottery Barn's list, then you're going to have to declare email bankruptcy at least twice. So I just think like no one's like reading these emails. Like you're just really putting them on a trip to Unsubscribe Island, and we're not, we're not really being relevant. Like email automation is sort of a glorified mail merge in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the second thing, which I don't think adds a lot of value, and I don't think people appreciate. And then the third thing is, we've tried to be more scientific in marketing, which is great. I think we've taken some steps, but we take this email address and we deem it a lead, which is a contact.
Right.
And, maybe they do some other things and we score them and we say, this is a hot lead. And then we tell sales to follow up with all these hot leads. And a lot of times it's not a hot lead. It's an intern, or it's just someone who wanted the content, or it's too late. They're already like in a cycle with all these other people. And the reality is for sales, and I come from sales, like if you look back at 50 deals that you lost, I bet one of the major reasons that you lost those deals was they were what we call single threaded. They were just focused around one quote unquote lead or one quote unquote contact.
Yep.
And so this whole process of getting a lead or a contact, declaring ourselves successful and saying it's an MQL kind of screws sales, because that the lead may or may not be qualified, and all the other members of the buying team that we should be multi-threading and engaging that would actually really help sales, we leave behind. And so then they're left cold calling, which, you know, I hate getting cold calls too, you know? So it's just kind of like set up, not set up for the way modern buyers buy, in my opinion.
So it all makes sense to me what you're saying, right? And we're a growth enablement company, so our focus is on helping companies grow and scale, which it means to me improving EBITDA or net profit. Tell me a little bit about how you all approach growth enablement, and it sounds like, you know, I guess what is the next step when you're peeling back this onion? You don't have any forms, you've ungated the material, there's no cold calls, you're multi-threading, so it sounds like you're marketing to more than just the focused person who had your contact. You're maybe going after a bottoms-up approach. What I mean by that is a bottoms-up approach, talking to all folks who might have an influence in that organization. Can you just expand on that a little bit? What is the progression? How do you, if you're not making a cold call, what's the progression to getting them engaged?
Okay. So first of all, it starts by understanding your market and your ideal customer profile. So you have to understand your TAM, which is all the companies you could possibly sell to.
Okay.
And then within that, who are the ideal customers? And then, even more importantly, which of those ideal customers are actually in market for what you do?
Got it.
And this might sound like Star Wars, but it's actually possible to do. So there is enough data out there, and this is what 6sense does, is we're able to bring all this data together around a digital footprint and form a digital footprint for a company and a buying team. And so we can tell you all the different members on the buying team, look at their digital footprint, and say, based on their behavior, if they're ready or not.
Okay.
And it's just math. It's not me saying I give them 5 points for being on my pricing page or this or that.
Right.
It's predictive analytics that's back tested and statistically proven. So all of a sudden I say to you, I'm going to tell you the best accounts for you to sell to. I'm going to tell you exactly where they are in their journey. So if it's ideal to market to them, if it's ideal to start, you know, to actually reach out and engage them, I'm going to tell you the things they care about. So I'm going to tell you their top keywords.
So this starts with data.
It all starts with
data. And you all, in 6sense, is gathering this data in digital footprints.
Yes.
Via IP addresses, individual IP addresses, I'm guessing, something like that?
Exactly. So we're gathering all this data. And then you can start to design a much better buyer-led journey, not the journey that we deem you in,
right? And
not the journey we want to put you through, but based on your patterns, we can start to design an ideal journey that's very, very relevant. And so, so what, you know, like a typical day in the life for us is we have 3 go-to-market segments. So first of all, our TAM is huge. We could sell to 500,000 companies, like anybody in B2B we sell to.
Yep.
That doesn't mean they're ready or ideal. And so we've created 3 kind of ideal go-to-market segments. And 6sense is always on finding accounts that meet those criteria for us. And when an account starts to show that they have a problem, because it's not product market fit, it's problem market fit. So even if you have a small TAM, you still have to have problem market fit, right? So the first step is for marketing to warm that account up. So we start running all kinds of like digital advertising plays, both display advertising as well as social advertising on things like Facebook and LinkedIn. And we make sure the ads are really relevant because we actually know their keyword. So we know the top keywords. And so we're not just advertising to them about anything. If we know they're interested in predictive analytics, they're going to get a predictive analytics ad. You know they're interested in CDPs or whatever, or sales, performance, like whatever it is, that's going to rotate in. And so that's my first step, is I just want you to know my brand.
Right.
And I want you to associate me as a potential solve for whatever problem you have. So, we want to get you to our website. And when you get to our website, we want to greet you, and we want you to be able to learn a ton from us.
Right.
And so you're going to come to our website, and it's you, and hopefully it's also Brian and Sarah and everyone on your team that are coming to our website. And you know what? Our chat is going to come up, and depending on the type of account you are, depending on your keyword, depending on where you are in your buying stage, chat's going to be different, content's going to be different.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but so the technology 6sense, by the way, it's 6sense.com, the number 6, SENSE.com, for those out there listening. Go to their website, take a look at it. So does the technology cover the bots? Does the technology cover?
No, so we're the foundation. So we cover all the ads. We run it, we trigger all the ads for you.
Got it.
We have data orchestration, so you can also buy contact data,
Okay.
which is one thing that I do, which then will trigger, relevant nurture. It's not that I don't email, right? Or I don't call, right?
Right.
But one of the things that we believe in is we believe in powering your entire stack from marketing to sales.
Okay.
And there's a whole category of companies in conversational marketing that are very, very good at what they do. And so like, if you think about a Drift or a Qualified, we actually embed 6sense in Drift and Qualified. So they license some of our capabilities.
Yes.
And that company identification capability, even if you're not like on the 6sense platform, you get some of 6sense's capabilities.
Yep.
Because we can basically do that matching of a signal to an account better than anybody else in the market.
Okay.
And so, but that also makes it easy that all of a sudden starts to have a connected ecosystem. And so you can start to snap on a personalization engine. You can start to snap on chat. I just was on a podcast with Path Factory. You can snap on, content hubs. Whatever your digital ecosystem is.
Right.
And you want a single source of truth and a way to connect all of that together. That's really critical if you want to orchestrate these experiences.
So you would be the single source of truth then that powers these other apps, these tech stack apps. So when you come into a Drift, for example, I don't know if you're using Drift, I'm on your website, but if you were, it would know who the IP address is and welcome you with the appropriate message.
Yeah, I know, and it basically goes back to a dynamic segment in 6sense. It's kind of like asking Alexa, and it goes back and 6sense says, this is BrainSell, this is Jim, he's the CEO, this is what he's consumed before, these are his intent keywords. Let's adjust based on that.
Right. So you're gonna make it like I'm gonna get cookie dough ice cream when I come in? Sure. Because that's when I probably was. Anyways, that's a joke. You know what? I was just thinking back, and I'm older than all of you, maybe not combined, but one-to-one marketing. Did you ever read the book One-to-One Marketing by Peppers and Rogers years ago?
I didn't, but I guess I should.
Well, it was a very predictive book, and I often reflect back because this is what they predicted. that would happen with the web and other technologies that would come into play. The ability to speak one-to-one. So as I come into your website, it's tailored. The message is tailored to, based on the information you've gained about, I guess, my persona.
Yeah, and the weird or the challenging thing about B2B is it's one-to-one, but also you have to take into account that you work with Brian and you work with Sarah.
Right.
And they also are going to have opinions, and so that's why we want to be able to orchestrate both experiences and continue not just market to you, but market to Brian and Sarah. And then when it comes to sales, we want to make sure that we pass the buying group, not a lead, but we say, you know what, this account, BrainSell, is ready. And Brian likes mint chocolate chip, Jim likes cookie dough, Sarah's a sorbet gal. Here's the dossier on them. The record's enriched, the contact data is enriched. Here's all the content they've consumed individually and as a team. Here's the recommended talking points. So you start to serve up a dossier, so it also doesn't feel disconnected between sales, maybe your outbound BDR, SDR team, and marketing. Like we're all like literally looking at the same sheet of music, and we know, oh, it's cello time, and it's now it's the piano solo, because it all like kind of orchestrates that way.
Right, got it. And I'm kind of going backwards a little bit. The dark funnel, which I really learned about the dark funnel through 6sense. Did you guys coin the phrase dark funnel, by the way?
So Kyle Christensen was the CMO before me, and he's now at Sora, and he is a genius marketer.
Okay.
He is probably the best that's ever been. And he coined the phrase.
He
so
did.
So smart, so good.
So good, right.
So I just get the
we're not going to make the assumption.
Kyle's great work.
That's right. Let's not make the assumption that everybody knows what the dark funnel is. Could you just briefly describe what it is to those out there?
Yeah. So, when you start to think about the legacy technology that we have and the data that we have, it's very limited. And there's all this other data and activity that's happening, but we're in the dark. We only see what's in our CRM.
Yep.
And or our map. And I mean, you can quote Forrester, you can quote Gartner, whoever else, and they'll tell you, so much of the buying cycle is done before they talk to a salesperson or before they engage with marketing. And so we call all of that the dark funnel.
Okay.
And what we want to do and what we do is we start to light up the dark funnel so that you can see who's on your website before they fill out a form. You can see who's researching, critical things related to your category or company before they even come to your website. Like this is like insights like never before,
right.
Before you were in the dark.
I
Right.
have
So,
a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
I actually have two questions, but I'll limit it.
Well, you said one question, Sarah. I'm gonna.
Can I please ask the two, though?
Yeah, all right.
Okay. The first question related to what you just said. When you say who's come to your website, who's doing the research, is it an individual or is the company?
That's a good clarification point. It's the company and the persona. It's not an individual. That's anti-privacy.
Okay. And then thank you for that. And then this follows onto it. So over a year and a half ago now, we all kind of went home to work, right? The remote workforce expanded.
I know where you're going.
And how did that impact the data or the information that 6sense is gathering, or any tool like this, really?
Well, it's not any tool like this.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, we call this capability our moat, our IP moat, and we have multiple patents around it. And it was actually originally built for not the pandemic, obviously, but we anticipated remote office locations and Starbucks and travelers and things like that. So when we initially built the graph, the master company database and the graph, we sort of anticipated that I could work for 6sense, but be at a coffee shop in Glenview. And we needed to be able to make that match. So what we saw initially is, everyone leaves, and we did see a dip in the graph. But then the graph adjusted and bounced back because of the way it was designed. So essentially, initial dip, now it's right back to performing. It's actually performing better than it was pre-pandemic because of some other changes that we did. But
So do you
we're
want to tell us what
kind
the
of
secret
always
sauce
working
is?
on it. It's like one of those things that's like, just because you won the Olympics a couple years ago, you have to continue. If you want to go back and compete, you got to keep training and keep changing.
What was it you asked, Sarah?
So do you want to share what that secret sauce is?
No.
No. Because it does appear 6sense does have a unique place in the market that I don't know of competitors that do exactly what you do. Are there any?
So what's interesting
It's like there's ones that do pieces of it, but that's not the cohesiveness of your offering.
Yeah, and this is kind of a debate I've had with myself over and over again, because right now, if you look at 6sense and what category we are in, we're in the account-based marketing category.
Yeah.
And it's a hot category. People want account-based marketing technology. And so it's kind of good to be, one of the rules of marketing is people buy in categories and you want to have a category and blah, 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 blah. But what I think we struggle with and talk about a lot is, yes, but we address the entire go-to-market motion, right? It's not just an account-based motion for like a few accounts.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways you could say that maybe we're a CDP, a customer data platform, because we do have a CDP is sort of embedded, like that's part of the base of what we do and allows us to do a lot of the things that we do. You could say so there's all these different parts that we're bringing together, but I think it's a good place to be because, I think consolidation is happening. And I think that what we feel we want to always be differentiated in is the quality of the data, that account identification, our patented models and predictions, and the ability to orchestrate. And we want to see companies like Drift, like Path Factory, like Uberflip, all the things that we connect to, we want to see those guys make tons of money. We're hoping that as people think about a more modern tech stack, they think about this foundational piece, which is where we sit, but then we connect on some of these other execution channels.
What other technologies are you connecting to? It sounds like you're adding to their technologies, making them more successful, which is part of the formula. Are you, for example, Conversica is one of our partners.
I love Conversica.
You do? And are you working with them?
Yep. So we have an integration to Conversica. That's a great use case. Also the sales engagement platforms. So one of the things that we've done recently, if you think about a sales loft or an outreach, an outbound team, they work in outreach or sales loft. That's where they are every single day. And so we don't just have an integration, we've embedded our sales intelligence solution right in the sales engagement platform. Right. So if you're working in sales loft, you don't even know it's 6sense, and that's fine. But you're getting, these are the hottest accounts in market. This is the contact details. These are the keywords. This is the recommended next action. And you can run all your cadences right in there.
So are you essentially filling their, I want to call it their list funnel with the appropriate companies to be reaching out to?
Correct.
Because I have seen that, and we've worked with both, and we've created integrations as well in Outreach and Sales Loft and Drift and Conversica. And in the sales enablement platforms, one of the early, I would say, obstacles was it's okay to have a cadence, and that certainly helped create force multiplier for BDRs or SDRs, sales development reps, business development reps. But they weren't often targeting the right folks.
Right.
And so
yeah, that is the point exactly, is we want to bring the brains to the brawn.
Yep.
And then be able to actually, each one of those platforms has AI that's incredible. So how do we sort of like all force multiply?
Yep.
And then, I think what you're going to see is this new tech stack emerge that is sort of the requirement. And I talk about that in the book.
Yeah.
I talk about, there's sort of a new requirement, and I am actually not very tech savvy. I know I'm on here riffing and saying things like CDP, which is hilarious to me personally. But what the whole job of 6sense is to do, and our partners, is to make it easy and feel easy and seamless. Like it's not, this monumental thing.
Right. I'm fascinated by the technology, and I do believe it is all about the tech stacks go forward. I mean, it's one thing to have the commodities, or the core solutions like CRM or marketing automation, but I think it is all about the tech stacks go forward. That's going to drive the real success for companies in that growth enablement concept that I speak to.
Yeah, and we talk about, our tagline is, know everything, do anything.
Right.
And so we say we want to put the power of data, the power of insights, the power of AI behind every member of the revenue team. Like, we don't think you should have to guess anymore.
So for those who are listening, could you, and for them to self-identify themselves as a customer you'd look for, who would be your ICPs? Is it size of company? Is it so that they can raise their hands and come see you?
Yeah, well, we welcome, if you're a B2B sales or marketer in the go-to-market function. So yeah, you have to be B2B. That's number one.
Yep.
And that's probably the biggest criteria. And you have to have a B2B-like sales motion. And, we have 3 different segments. We have a commercial segment, which is less than 300 employees. We have a mid-market / enterprise, which is 300 to 2,000, and then we have 2,000 plus, which is strategic.
I see. So if we're a company of 52, to be exact, and we are,
you would be a commercial account for us.
So we would fit into your ICP. We would be an account you'd be interested in.
Yeah, we've actually, and it was interesting. We built, so we have a big outbound motion, and one of the things about having an outbound motion is you want to have a progression path for BDRs and SDRs. And this was probably like 2.5 years ago. And so we had this guy, Connor Moakley, who was like crushing it as a BDR and like wanted to be in sales.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, okay, but we don't really have a path. What do we do? And so we're like, okay, well, let's experiment with this like commercial segment and like see what happens with that. Well, it has become our fastest growing, like lights out, hands down, like best segment.
Really?
Yeah. And that was 2.5 years ago. So now it's obviously a lot more folks than just Connor. And I think Connor's now an enterprise AE, but it's been good, obviously, on the people front to be able to give a career progression, but we've also just seen a huge need. And I think what's interesting about that segment, I love working with that segment, because in a lot of ways they're saying, I'm just going to start with this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to retroactive, or this is going to be my first investment. And so it's kind of interesting to see like that approach of starting with like an account-based 6sense as the first tech buy versus people that already have, marketing automation and all this other thing.
Right.
Like retrofit. So they're fun accounts to work with.
It sounds awesome. So I'm sure you and I will be talking about this further off podcast. And we're moving towards our techtainment section, which you don't know the questions. We do give you a hint on some of the questions ahead of time on our podcast. But is there anything, for those who do know 6sense in the marketplace, is there anything that's new that you want those who know you to know about you?
I'm so excited. So drum roll. So we do a product release every 2 months.
We need sound effects, by the way, guys. Drum rolls. Yeah. Okay.
Dun,
Go
dun,
ahead.
dun.
All right.
And
That's
we-
enough.
And we have a huge release that's coming out next week.
Okay.
And it's AI-driven orchestration.
Okay.
So essentially, as a sales or a marketer, I'm going to put my goal in. And the first goal that we're doing is drive web traffic. So I walk to 6sense and I say, I want to drive web traffic. I pick my product category. I pick my segment of accounts. And
Yep.
then 6sense decides which accounts, which contacts, which medium, and the AI actually drives the journey. So,
Ooh, that is very cool. I'm excited about that with you.
Me too.
Very
That is so cool.
Jim's
And
going
so
to be
that's the
talking to
first
you off the
goal.
podcast.
Yeah, we
that's
have
the
another.
first goal. The next goal will be, so it's going to go drive web engagement,
Yeah.
create pipeline,
Yeah.
accelerate pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll be around like upsell and churn. And so what you start to see, what I hope you're starting to see is these goals daisy chaining together. So,
Yeah.
so once you meet the criteria for one goal, you would then move into the next goal. And we're
Right.
doing this thing called human in the loop. So, the marketer will be able to approve or deny kind of the suggestions.
Okay.
The AI is going to drive the accounts, the lists, the tactic, all that.
So will be dashboards for approvals for the humans to make rational
Yes.
decisions? Yeah, okay. And maybe my last question. Of course, I could go on forever with this because I've been. I said for the top of the show that I call it a show. It's not. Is it a show? I guess it's a show.
So we had a drum roll.
We had a drum roll. We've got to get sound effects. I want sound effects next. Okay, Sarah.
Like
and
and applause.
all that shit. I want it all. I want it all.
He gets a
Yeah.
soundboard.
I want a soundboard. I want it all. I got the microphone finally. Jesus, that took like a
Sounds
year.
like it's quickly turning into the Howard Stern show. I don't
Whatever,
like it.
Brian.
No.
Whatever. God. One of the questions that makes me think about you a lot is the return on investment, and I don't know the cost of the investment. I don't know if that's something you want to reveal today, but is there a return? How quick is the return on investment? Anything you want to reveal about costs, or is it dependent upon each company?
No, it's not dependent. So a couple things. We actually just put out a report because we have a framework called our business impact framework. And so every quarter we survey and go out and look at all of our customers, and we look at the impact that we're having. And time again, again, we release it every quarter, but we see like this quarter, it's 2 times better deal sizes, 10% faster time to close, and I think 20% better conversions. So, I mean, this is, if you're an operator or a CEO or on a board, like this is the stuff that really like matters.
Oh yeah, those are the levers. Those are the levers
that create revenue.
Yep.
And we also, right in the app, will show you like all the pipeline that 6sense predicted and all of these things. But I love that business impact framework. So we're maniacal about that and showing it and working with you on it. But the other thing that we do that I think is pretty interesting is our customer success team is KPI based on green use cases. And the definition of a green use case. So we go across every member of the go-to-market team that's going to use 6sense. We have documented use cases. And we work with the customer and say, what are your key use cases? And then for a use case to be green, it has to be live. Duh.
Yep.
It has to be adopted. Okay. But there also has to be like agreed upon value.
Okay.
And so that's how our CSMs really partner with our customers to make sure that, we're quickly getting time to value.
So, yeah, let's review that because that's very important to me because one of the things we say here at BrainSell, we don't sell software, we sell outcomes.
Yes.
And so that's a very outcome-based mentality. So it's got to be a live customer. It's got to be, what was the second one?
adopted.
It's got to be adopted internally, and then the third is the agreed outcome, which, as you've both agreed or the parties have agreed on what. For example, what would be the outcome you're looking for? The return on investment by X date, or
No, so
what?
like we've taken each use case. So let's say the use case is display advertising.
Yes.
It would be, okay, the KPIs and the value would be, we want to see that we're getting, 10% more of your ideal customers to your
Okay. Yep.
right? So the value driver matches the use case, and that's part of the use case documentation.
Yep.
Right. So if it's like an outbound motion, it might be, we've increased the per pipeline per BDR.
So you've created a benchmark essentially.
Yes.
And you've created a scorecard that's agreed upon.
Yes.
I love it. That's real value. That's super value, because it also makes you very sticky with the clients, and if you need to pivot.
Yeah, and I think it gives us a good mutual action plan too, for them to know what to do when. One of the challenges with 6sense is there's a lot you can do with it.
Yes.
So we have to be able to agree upon what makes sense for you and being able to chart the course.
Yep. Perfect. So you got a few tips for those out there, the business leaders out there who are looking to fuel growth and scale, just general tips from you?
I think that like the faster we can unpack tracking and worrying about marketing qualified leads, the better. I think that sets the whole process up for failure. It is a potential indicator, a potential thing, but again, I think it creates a lot of byproducts when a board or a CEO or exec team just looks at marketing as and their only KPI is MQLs.
Got it. Good. Excellent. Latané, I could go on and on. I have so many questions. I'm sure we'll talk just a little bit after the show here. Again, I'm calling it a show. Let's go to our techtainment. Brian, you have a question for Latané?
Techtainment. Woo. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So, Latané, what is your idea of fun? If you had nothing to do on a weekend or a weeknight after work, what's your idea of fun?
Okay, so my husband and my kids and I and our best friends are really into wake surfing.
Oh, I like that.
And so what this is it's actually kind of a newer technology, and the boat takes in a bunch of water and the ballast and creates a surf wave.
Yep.
And then you're actually back behind the boat, just hanging out surfing. And
Right.
It is so fun. It's outside. It's summer in Chicago, which there's no better season. We're all together as a family. The music's going. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, and that's all wakeboarding with the boat and no strings attached, literally no lines. So you're
No line.
It's like Mastercraft, one of the boats that does that. I don't know if they've.
Malibu actually came out with the original technology.
Okay.
And has most of the patents on it. But,
Got it.
But Mastercraft now has one, and then there's a company called Nautique, which is
Yep.
My old CEO has a Nautique, so sometimes he takes us out on his Nautique, and it's a
Yeah.
big deal.
All the ski boats, because I was a water skier, but I'm here on the East Coast, and water skiing was an ocean activity for us.
Yeah.
So oceans it's a much harder water ski than it is on the lakes.
Well, and you're going 20 some miles an hour water skiing.
Yes.
That is not the last time I water skied, I didn't even fall, but I just, you're just out there holding on. And I'm I feel like I have a mild concussion.
A mild concussion is coming on.
Whereas, the surfing, you're going half that. So it's just more, it's a little more chill.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, you're up.
One question. Is it hard to pick up, to learn?
So
Surfing is hard, I think, a little
it
bit.
takes, so you have to be willing to try. I say you have to take 12 pulls. If you're not willing to get out there 12 times and try, you're probably not going to learn.
Okay.
And so, and it's a little misleading because my kids are amazing. So they'll get out there and they're like doing all these tricks, and then people expect it to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it is. Like, we can pretty much get anyone up who's willing to try.
Yeah. Great. Okay, my question is, would you rather spend the rest of your life with a sailboat as your home or an RV as your house?
Probably an RV.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I know. I love
after that
boats.
conversation.
I know. I love boats, but I don't know. I also am a runner, so I
So
don't know.
you need your land.
Yeah, I need to be able to just zone out and go for a run, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be on the sailboat, I think. Far, far away from people.
Same.
No, I love people. No. No, I do. I'm just joking about that. I love people. I'm in that business of people. My question for you is, what's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, so many.
Oh, well, pick one.
Well, I was talking to you guys earlier about my design guilty pleasure. So I'm always like changing rooms up and doing stuff. So you can see my all different wallpaper samples and paint samples, and
Yep.
it's just, the whole house is a moving target. You just never know what I'm going to do.
Well, that's awesome. Well, this has been wonderful to have this conversation with you, Latané. And I want folks to know how to get a hold of you and how to get a hold of 6sense. So could you tell us?
Sure. So I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to hit me up. Always glad to network and get to know folks. And then, www.6sense.com.
Can you accept my friendship on LinkedIn, man? I mean, I've been
Sure.
waiting for a long time.
Sure.
All right. So LinkedIn, and of course you can find you at 6sense.com. That's with a 6 sense.
Yes.
And what I like about it is the naming convention, and I'm sure you've all put it together out there. It's the ability to sort of see into the future, 6 sense. It's that, we all have 5 senses. It's that 6 sense. I love the naming convention. And that's really what they're about, I think, is uncovering the dark funnel and all those things and helping you. It's perfect. This technology is the perfect growth enablement solution, in my opinion, and I am fascinated with it. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Brian, for joining us today. Let's all say a big round of goodbyes. I feel like we should be like, in the dating game when they do this, we should have some sort of conclusion.
We just sit here and wave.
We can. I guess we can wave.
Yeah.
That's kind of boring.
It's
Latané.
anticlimactic.
All right.
Yeah, but
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Latané. See you later. Thank you for listening to this episode of Growth Enablement Madness Podcast. I also want to thank Divinio Podcast for this episode's production and distribution. Finally, thank you to Sam Ward for our musical introduction and outro. Be sure to check out all of our episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. New episodes are available monthly and cover all important topics for growing and scaling your business. Until next time, this is Jim Ward signing off. Let's grow.